Hey guys, Duel here with the part 4 of What If Nagisa Had the Sharingan. Now, yeah, so, I have no idea how the intro went, honestly. I just played it for, see how it works. I don't know if it's gonna be a routine, or if that's gonna be a one-time thing, but, yeah. So, I guess, let's get into the video. After Korra-sensei saved Nagisa and Karma from the cliff, Korra-sensei pulled Nagisa to the side and into the dialogue. Nagisa, do you mind doing me a favor? Nagisa replied with, depends on what it is. He says, can you go to the the gas station in the morning, and pick me up some junk food? Actually, scratch that. Instead of that, Korra-sensei cleans them all up, his dress, wipe off the dust, and they go home for the day. When Nagisa gets home, his mom says, happy birthday. Nagisa looks at her confused as he forgot his own birthday. There's too much background noise. He just forgot his own birthday. And as she hugs him, Karma and some relatives pop out. And he's standing there in shock, saying and thinking, how did I forget, let alone be surprised? I should have really keen memory. As Karma pops out and punches his shoulder and says, happy birthday, bud. As he pulls out a small box wrapped up and says, here's your present. Nagisa looks at the small box, wondering what it could be, as he picks it up, unwraps it, and it's a watch. It's not a digital watch, it's an old-timey black watch with red hands. And as he's looking at it, he looks up at Karma, and his no tears ability activates. It's preventing him from crying. He says thank you as he puts the watch on. And this entire time, his mom has been like, she's been shipping Karma and Nagisa the entire time. So Karma's came over to eat once in a while, and Karma never really found anything too off about his mom when he was around. So when his mom walked up to him and says, so Nagisa, you're da-da-da years old now, and here, as she hands him a box, as he opens it, he finds a pair of keys. And he says, no. She says, yeah, you've had your driver's license for what, a year now? Let's say he's just turns 18. And he says, but wait, these are those keys. She says, yep, as he walks down and removes a cover of a car. It's a Mustang. Now, I know this wouldn't technically be a car you'd find in their area, but it's an old-timey muscle car. And it's in great shape. As he says, so you got a new pair of wheels now, huh, bud? As Karma picks up his helmet that he left set on a chair, he says, we'll go for a ride later if you want. And if you didn't know, Karma has a motorcycle, which you didn't know, because I doubt he doesn't. The anime. And so, they stand up, and they get back to the party. Now, they cut the cake, and he opens up all his gifts. He finds mostly money, cards, and one intrigues him. He opens up one, and it's a ball. He doesn't know exactly what it is, but he knows it's weird. He assumes it's some kind of bouncy ball as he looks under it. And because of his sharingan, he sees through the box, seeing that there's a false bottom. Now, under the false bottom, there is... There's a piece of paper. Now, he's examining the box slightly closer, and it's old, really old. And he looks at who sent it. It says from... He says, to Nagisa from... blank. Nothing. He looks around the party, as he asks if someone sent this box. He gets everyone, and all their presents are accounted for. This just showed up. So he puts that box in his pocket. And if you didn't know, the boxes I've mentioned so far specifically are about the size of an engagement ring box. So yeah. He puts in his box, and for about 3 hours they enjoy the party. As everybody clears out, Nagisa grabs his keys and heads to his car. He gets in his car as he wipes the dust off the steering wheel and says, this is my birthday present from you. As his father pops in his head, as he thinks, doubt you'd let me have it even if you were still here, though. And all this emotion caused a bridge in his eyes. Now, two Tomoes are connected. 2 more bridges, and he's a ticking time bomb. As he looks in the mirror and sees it, he says, crap. The bridge formed. As he deactivates his sharingan. And sits there. Cold. Thinking, what am I doing still sitting here? Not really knowing what to do next. He just sits there, thinking. And as he hears a ding on his phone, he snaps out of it. He reaches down to pick it up as it slips in between the seats. And as he reaches down, he cuts himself on a piece of metal. Now, this piece of metal had been pretty rusty, and it left a fairly deep cut. So as he pulled back, he grabbed his arm, phone clenched in hand, as he looked at the message and tried to cover the blood. As it healed, The bridge in his eyes gave him a regeneration ability. He smiles and says this will be useful again. He puts the keys in the ignition and texted Karma and says, "Yeah, I'm ready." If you didn't know, the text was from Karma saying, "Are you coming?" As Karma and Nagisa are driving down the road, Karma looks over and so does Nagisa as they put a thumbs up, and they just drive for about 2 hours. As they get to pretty far in the country, as they get to an area. Now, let's say that this area is pretty deep in the woods and it's pretty famous for being a campground. But because of the season, nobody's here. As they arrive, Nagisa pulls out his phone and asks his mom if he can stay out for the night, and that if he can stay over Karma's place. Nagisa's mom, being a Karma Nagisa ship, says, "Of course, honey. Just don't be too late. Just don't be too late, and just make sure you come home tomorrow." Yeah. And as she says this, Nagisa hangs up and saying, "Thank you, Mom." As she just thinks, that kid. And then cut back to Nagisa. Oh yeah. Did I mention that which side of the family the sharingan came from? Oh yeah, and the reason I can only be a male for the transplant is because of the fact that what's it called? The disease has to be activated, or because even if the person's dead, if they put enough stress or electrical energy into the eyes to cause it physical pain without the brain reacting to it, it will trigger the sharingan. Now they've tested this with, I believe, let's say 3 occasions, and it's all worked. But because nobody needed the transplant at the time, it was never tested on, and the eyes just shriveled up after a certain amount of time, not being able to be preserved due to their unique conditions. You know, chakra. So, yeah. And P.S. The sharingan came from Nagisa's dad's side. Wait, yeah, I did mention that. So, as they're pulling out some tents and sitting down at the campsite, Nagisa and Karma are telling stories on the next. God, just God. People don't know how to be quiet in this goddamn house. I'm a floor down from them, and I can still hear them. Well, yeah, as Nagisa and Karma pull out a tent, Karma says, "Crap. I forgot to bring a tent, because I brought my bike." He says, "It's cool. I have my sleeping bag, and I have my sleeping bag. We can just spread that out." They set up the tent, and now they're telling stories by the campfire. As Nagisa says, "So, my disease stepped up one level now. One level." Karma stands up and says, "What? Why? What happened?" "It's okay. It was joy." Karma sits back down and says, "It doesn't matter. You still shouldn't be getting these jumps and excitement. It's not good for you." He says, "It's okay. I still have 3 more strikes." but I did get an ability out of it. He says, really, what? Something we can use? He says, no, it's regeneration. It's pretty fast, too. And, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So, yeah. So, they're sitting by the store dying fires. And it's getting cold out, and Nagisa didn't bring a jacket. So, I dropped my phone. Okay, that should be better. Sorry for that. Well, okay, where was I? So Karma scoots over to Nagisa, takes off his jacket and puts it around him. Nagisa smiles as he slaps his head on his shoulder, and Karma just stares at his long black hair, thinking, wow, you can lose yourself. Darker than the void, he thinks. As Nagisa is about to pass out, Karma stands up and goes to grab another piece of firewood. As he does, he... How'd he go with this? Yeah, I'll do that. As he stands up, he goes behind them and grabs a couple of logs, and Nagisa turns around to ask him a question as he trips on a rock. You probably get where this is going. And face plants into Nagisa, and now they're lip to lip. As Nagisa's eyes, he gets wake up real quick, as Karma says in his head, shit. And Nagisa's thinking, the fuck? Why? How? Oh, fuck. And Karma thinking, damn. And then he says in his head, screw it. And then Karma inserts his tongue in Nagisa's mouth. And, alright, I'm gonna give you the visuals. Sorry, and this is not a ship. If you're asking, the ship is not Karma X Nagisa. This is just what's in the video right now. I'm not disclosing the specific ship, or if there will even be a main. For all you know, it's gonna be a harem. For all you know, it's gonna be no ship at all. Just romantic passes. So yeah, Karma inserts his tongue into Nagisa's mouth, and the picture is Nagisa's knees are over a log, to where the back of his knee is in an arched position, and his back is to the leaves. Karma has two hands on each side of his arm, as Nagisa's eyes are sharpened, and Karma is enjoying this. It was a complete accident, but he got into it after a couple of oh shits, and then a screw it. As Nagisa then Nagisa then thinks Viper, as he screws a poison that acts instantly and paralyzes the enemy for a short duration, maybe 10 seconds. Karma's paralyzed, can't move as Nagisa pushes him off and runs back to his car. He starts up the car and drives away. Karma's sitting there thinking, fuck, what did I do? He's just sitting there alone with his hand on his head, thinking, fuck, 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 fuck. And if you didn't know this, Karma is gay. Didn't tell Nagisa. Nobody knows, but Karma is. I'm watching a really weird show on TV right now. I think it's from the 80s. Well, yeah, as Nagisa's driving down the road, he's speeding hella fast, lights are on, and he's drifting corners. As he gets to an alleyway, parks up his car, reclines his seat, and just sits there and thinks, what just happened? All night. And okay, so Karma is no, we're gonna go to the next morning. He wakes up, he gets to school 2 hours early, as usual, and he's in his casual clothes. Sorry for all the creaking. He's in his casual clothes as he walks in and says, "Hey, Koro-sensei," with bags under his eyes. As he says, "Oh, hey, Nagisa," as he looks outside the window and sees Nagisa's car. He says, as he thinks, I still have those no. As he sees, instead of seeing not Koro-sensei, he sees Kurasama. As he said, hey, Kurasama says, "Oh, hey, Nagisa." And if you didn't know, Nagisa is tall. He's like slightly taller than Karma. So he could be mistaken for an adult. Because Nagisa's not a shrimp. He's got some muscle to him. So Kurasama says, "Oh, hey, Nagisa, is that your car?" He says, "Yeah, I just got it yesterday." He says, "Cool, do you mind going to pick up a new teacher? She should be down by the supermarket." Oh yeah, and Koro said that he was gonna go pick up some snacks. I told him I'd have one of the students go for him. Nagisa says, "Sure, since I'm the first one here and I have some time." He says, "Thanks." Oh yeah, and her name is Yellovich. She doesn't like when people mess with her last name, so I forget her first name. Irina. Her name's Irina Yellovich. So if I were you, I'd call her by her first name. He says, "Okay." As he gets back in his car and drives to the the gas station. As he arrives, he sees a group of thugs picking on a blonde girl. As he walks over and says, "Do you mind? It's not very chivalrous to pick on women." The men look over and say, "Buzz off. This is none of your business." And with a cold stare, no sharingan in eyes, he says, "Get out of here." And they bolt. As Irina says, "What the hell?" And then Nagisa cuts her off and saying, "I'm here to pick you up." Irina. She looks at him and says, "Who are you?" "I was sent by Kurasama." She thinks, "You must be one of the government goons." "Fine, let's go." He says, okay. As he walks to his car with her, she gets in. She says, she compliments his car. Says, thanks, I got it yesterday. As he drives her to the school, she gets out and goes into the classroom, not bothering to try to seduce. Of course, I'd say just yet. So, as they get into the classroom, he says, oh yeah, and if I were you, I wouldn't upset the students. They can get kind of crazy. She says, what do you know? As he walks in the classroom with her, he says, weren't you just here to escort me? Go back to your government. Go back to where we came from, Lucky. As he says, I don't know what you mean. I'm one of your students. She looks at him and says, huh? Oh yeah, and by the way, I've come the closest to assassinating Sensei. And if I were you, I wouldn't trifle with his emotions lightly. He may be very forgiving, but he dislikes it when you put the students in danger. Also, he's way too sharp for someone like you to catch him off guard. She looks at him and says, well, someone like me, what, a trained professional? Beat it, kid. Nagisa says, fine, you want to make a bet? She looks at him and says, what are we betting? Because let's say she had a small gambling habit back in the day. He says, I bet you anything you ask of from me. Information, a favor, or money. But if I win, you owe me the same. Any request I ask for. She says, what's the bet? The bet is that if the information I write down on a note is what key swayed you into failing and or could have saved you, then I win. But if it doesn't, if it proves useless, then if it would have proved useless, then I lose. She says, deal. The other stacked against you there, my friend. Nagisa pulls out a piece of paper, and on a note he writes, nose of a bloodhound, and live aim mode has no effect. He then seals the paper with his own venom, which is irreplaceable because she can't get any of it. He then says that I will know if you open this, and if you do, it's an immediate loss. She says, okay then, as she takes the note and puts it in her pocket. I'll hold on to this. When's the deadline? I'll give you a week, but I don't think you'll make it last that long. She smiles and says, he'll be dead by then. As they walk into the classroom, Naga introduces her as Miss Yelovich. There's no bitch because Nagisa introduced her. And as he sits down, he said, and he looks over to Karma. He turns away. As he raises his hand, Miss Yelovich, do you mind if I change seats for the day? She says, go for it. As Nagisa moves seats to the other side of the classroom, he sits there and does his work quietly. And he says, Miss Irina, I have a question. She looks at him and says, what now? He then says, would you like this period off? She looks at him and says, you know, I obligated to be here, that way you learn something. He says, "I'll teach for the day if you leave the room." She then says, "Sure, go for it." She walks to the teacher's line to get some peace and quiet. As Nagisa steps up, class all says yes. As he starts to explain the enhancements of the word to another. You are smart. You are astronomically smart. What is the word you? Smart enhancing. You. That lesson is similar to what Miss Yelovich Erna did in the original anime. She is going over a plan that she has her guys set up that evening. Okay, so during this time, Miss Yelovich has set up in the shed and is all prepared. And now, Koro Sensei is arriving for math class. Now, Nagisa's already sat down and prepared the board to make it look like Miss Yelovich was here to keep her cover. And she had returned to keep the cover as well. She looks at the board and says, and thinks, huh? He did this? She then thinks of looking at the note to see what information could save her operation. But then says, nah, that's a bet. As Corazon walks in, and she begins to seduce him, he turns pink as she mentions the shed later that day. And during PE class, when they're all testing, he goes in. As he goes in, he smells the body odor that keeps it cool. He also smells the trace of gunpowder and metal, and realizes what's going on. So, as he's being seduced, the live ammo goes off. Everything happens the same. As she's dressed up, and now she's saying, "I was outsmarted by an octopus." Then Nagisa walks up and says, "Open the note. And I'm glad you didn't cheat. Although if you did, you probably would have got him." She then says, "I doubt any information in this note could have saved this operation." As she opens the note and it says, "Nose of a bloodhound, body odor," and then it also says, "Live rounds do not work. Live rounds have no effect on his body." She then says, "How did you? Doesn't matter. That's a bet." She then says, "Okay, what do you want?" He then replies with, "I'll let you know when I figure it out." He walks away. He helps her up and walks away. As she then tries to make a new impression in the class, considering he did say that they were better an ally than an enemy. And as she walks in, and there is no bitch nickname because Nagisa kind of vouched for it when he had walked in with her. But yeah. So yeah, after class, Nagisa's in his seat, and now he's thinking, how do I respond to Karma? As Karma walks over, he then says, "Sorry. I know it was uncalled for, even though it was an accident." He then stands up, hugs Karma, and says, "It's okay, man. Just try to warn me next time." And if you didn't notice, because of all the physical treatment his mom gave him, Nagisa's bisexual. So, yeah, the harem or non-harem incident could be, yeah. Karma then hugs him back as they back off and say, "I gotta go. I have some things to take care of." They run off, and As Nagisa arrives back at his house, he goes in his room and he pulls out about $1,000 as he walks out of the room. In his pocket, he says, "Oh yeah, Mom, I forgot. I got another paycheck today." As he hands her the money, and she says, "Thanks, Nagisa. You're really helping out around these days." It's funny how my baby boy is already supporting me. He's not even out of school yet. He smiles and says, "Well, I have to try my hardest before you know what happens." She has a frown on her face and says, "It won't happen to you, I swear. We won't let it." She hugs him as she says, "It's okay. Mice. Mice. Mice." Trying to get out the words son, but she refuses to, as she says sweet. He hugs her back and says, "Love you, Mom." She's trying to accept the fact that Nagisa is his own person, but she still has that sadistic, over-controlling nature about her. But she does not force on like love material onto him. That's one thing she refuses to do. And then he says, "So something happened." She says, "What? Not another one." He says, No, it's not that." As he says, "I kinda, well, you see, it was an accident, but Karma and me kinda." Then she says, "You're not a virgin anymore." He then looks at her and says, "Mom, I'm not that indecent. It was a kiss." She then says, "Yes, yes," in her head, and says, "Oh dear. Well, best to get you on birth control now," saying jokingly as she hugs him. He has a bland look on his face saying, "But I don't, that's not even," he just says, "Oh, screw it." And that is where we're going to end it today. So, folks, if you liked the video, comment, like, subscribe, and join the Discord. I left all the info you need in the description of the channel. So, if you want to, talk to me, suggest what ifs, or just flat out have something you need to say, you can go there. Or, if you don't know how, go over to Genki's channel go over to Genki's channel. Just look up Genki, and oh yeah, I'd also like to thank the 2 new subscribers. I forget your names already, but thank you. Oh yeah, and we got to 150. Actually, because of that, I'm gonna show y'all the 150 celebration banner. Happy 150 subs, everybody. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out, demons. Just checking in because I wanted that 39-minute mark. It would have bugged me otherwise. Also, should I do What If Deku? I haven't done one in a while. And if I do, what should it be? Although you guys probably want me to finish the What Ifs I'm doing right now. So, bye.